The altar was drenched in the scent of crushed grapes and betrayal, the kind that sticks to your skin like fog rolling off the hills. I stood there, heart pounding like a mallet on oak, watching the empty space where Jordan should have been my groom, my secret, the man I'd loved in stolen glances for years. But he was gone, vanished into the velvet night of Napa Valley, leaving me to face his family's empire alone, until they unveiled the impossible, his twin brother, Jamie, stepping forward with Jordan's face, but eyes that burned with a fire I'd never seen. It started with a whisper in the vines, the way all disasters do in wine country. I was Alex Rivera, 28 and wedged between worlds, the son of migrant workers who'd clawed their way into a tasting room job at the Harrington estate. Now a sommelier with calloused hands that knew the earth better than silk sheets. Jordan Harrington had been my quiet rebellion, the heir to this sprawling vineyard who'd slipped notes into my apron pockets during harvest season. His words tasting sharper than Cabernet. Meet me under the old oak at midnight. We'd hidden our love like contraband, kisses traded in the shadows of fermentation tanks, bodies tangled in the loft above the barrel room where the air hummed with yeast and promise. He was 28 too, all lean muscle from riding the estate's trails, with that mop of dark waves that fell just so, and eyes like storm-tossed sea glass, blue, endless, pulling me under. But Jordan was a cage of expectations. The golden boy groomed for the family legacy, marry well, produce heirs, keep the Harrington name gleaming like polished stemware. Our affair was a fracture line, invisible until the wedding invitations went out. It was supposed to be a union of convenience, me, the rising star sommelier, elevated to family status, him, securing the workforce loyalty his father demanded. I convinced myself it could work. That vow spoken in the vineyard chapel would cloak our truth. God, I was naive. The ceremony was set for a crisp autumn evening, the valley ablaze in reds and golds that mirrored the flush on my cheeks as I adjusted my navy suit in the mirror. It was bespoke, a gift from Jordan's mother, Evelyn, who saw me as the perfect polish for their dynasty. "You'll look like you belong, Alex," she'd said, her voice honey over steel. I did belong in the soil, in the stories the wines told, in the way Jordan's hand had trembled when he slid the ring on my finger during rehearsal. But as the organ swelled and the guests, winery moguls, local políticos, a sea of faces I'd poured for, turned expectant eyes to the aisle. The doors creaked open too. Nothing. Whispers rippled like wind through leaves. Evelyn's face drained to ash. Her pearls clutched like a lifeline. Old Man Harrington, Victor, stormed the vestibule, bellowing into his phone. Minutes stretched to eternity, my pulse a war drum in my ears. Then, from the side entrance, a figure emerged, not Jordan, but a ghost of him. Jamie, the twin no one spoke of, the black sheep who'd fled to San Francisco years ago, trading vines for venture capital deals in glass towers. He was Jordan's mirror, same height, same sculpted features, same tousled hair that begged to be ruffled. But where Jordan's eyes held a perpetual shadow of doubt, Jamie's sparked with defiance, like he'd stared down a storm and demanded secrets. "Alex," Victor growled, clapping a heavy hand on my shoulder as if I were a keg to be tapped. The boys. Delayed. Family matters. But the show must go on. Jamie will stand in. Stand in? My mind reeled, the chapel spinning like a bad pour. Jamie, in a tux that hugged his frame like it was poured from the finest vintage. Met my gaze with a nod that was equal parts apology and challenge. "For the estate," he murmured, voice low and gravelly, laced with city edge. Just until Jordan sorts his shit, the guests murmured approval. Harringtons were theater. After all, and the officiant, sweat beading on his brow, cleared his throat. I wanted a bolt to shatter the crystal flutes lining the reception tables. But Victor's grip was iron. Evelyn's eyes pleading daggers. "Sign the papers," they seemed to say. "Save the legacy." So I did, my hand shaking as it met Jamie's over the ledger. Our rings, identical, cold, exchanged in a farce that tasted of ash. Vows tumbled from numb lips, in sickness and health, till death do us part. Lies, all of it. But in that moment, with Jamie's thumb brushing mine, a flicker, unintended, I felt a spark that wasn't revulsion. It was curiosity. Danger. The reception blurred into a haze of toasts and forced smiles. I swirled rose in my glass, the bubbles mocking my fizzled dreams, while Jamie fielded questions with the ease of a man who'd charmed sharks in boardrooms. "Jordan's on a scouting trip," he lied smoothly, clinking glasses with Victor. "Back by week's end." But I saw the cracks, the way Jamie's jaw tightened when Evelyn hugged him too long, the shadow in his eyes when he glanced at the empty head table seat. He was here out of obligation, same as me, but there was steel in him Jordan never had. Night fell heavy, the valley's fog curling like fingers around the estate house. I retreated to the guest wing, shedding my suit like snakeskin, when a knock echoed, sharp, insistent. Jamie stood there, tie discarded, shirt unbuttoned to reveal a tattoo snaking across his collarbone, a vine twisted into an infinity loop, thorns and all. "We need to talk," he said, slipping inside before I could protest. The room smelled of cedar and his cologne, smoky, like bourbon barrel-aged scotch. He paced, hands raking through his hair. "Jordan's not coming back. Alex. Not like this." My stomach dropped. "What do you mean?" He sank onto the bed's edge, elbows on knees, and the words spilled, Jordan's panic attacks worsening, the pressure of the closet crushing him. Their twin bond was a curse and a gift. He'd felt Jordan's unraveling for months. The texts at 3 a.m., "I can't breathe in this place." Jamie had flown in from the city to talk sense. But Jordan bolted instead, leaving a note only Jamie saw. "Tell them I'm chasing the horizon. Don't follow." Guilt twisted in me like a cork untwisting. I'd pushed too hard, dreamed too big. "Why you?" I whispered, sinking beside him. Our knees brushed. Electric. Jamie's laugh was bitter, self-deprecating. "Because I'm the spare. The one who got out. Dad thinks I owe it to the bloodline." His eyes met mine, then, raw, unguarded. "And you deserve better than a ghost." The air thickened, charged like pre-storm ozone. I should have pulled away, but his proximity, Jordan's face, but warmer, bolder, drew me in. "What now?" I breathed. He leaned closer, breath mingling. "We play the part. Until we don't." His lips hovered. A question. I closed the gap. Tentative. Tasting salt and secrets. It wasn't Jordan, not quite, but it was fire where there had been embers. We broke apart gasping. The kiss a line crossed. Irrevocable. Dawn painted the hills in blush, but sleep evaded me. Jamie had left with a promise. We'll find him. Together. Breakfast was a minefield. Evelyn's brittle chatter about the successful merger, Victor barking orders for the harvest crew. I poured coffee with steady hands. But inside, turmoil churned. Jamie caught my eye across the oak table, a ghost of a smile that said, "We're in this." After, we stole to the barrel room, the air cool and musty, racks of aging Merlot watching like silent judges. "Tell me about him," Jamie said, tracing his stave's curve. "About you two." I hesitated, then poured it out, the first harvest kiss under moonlight. The way Jordan's laugh echoed in empty caves. The fear that shadowed our joy. Jamie listened, nodding, his own stories surfacing, growing up in Jordan's echo. The twin who questioned everything. Who came out in a city bar at 22, only to be disowned in all but name. "I built walls," he admitted, voice rough. "But seeing you, it's like cracking them open." Tension simmered, romantic and reckless. As workers clattered outside, he pulled me behind a towering cask. His kiss deeper this time, hands framing my face with a tenderness that ached. "This isn't pity," he murmured against my skin. "It's real," my body responded. Traitorous, alive in ways Jordan's caution had muted. But guilt gnawed. Was I betraying a love still searching the roads? Days blurred into a fragile routine. By day, we were the perfect facade, Jamie touring the vines in rolled sleeves, me leading tastings with scripted charm, our hands brushing in public like accident. Nights were ours, whispers in the loft, bodies mapping new territories under star-pricked skies. He was bolder than Jordan, laughter freer, touches that lingered like fine tannins on the tongue. Yet echoes haunted, a scarf Jordan left behind, tucked in my drawer, its scent fading. Suspense coiled when Victor announced a private investigator to drag that boy home. Panic flared. Jamie and I pored over maps in secret, tracing routes Jordan might take, coastal highways, anonymous motels. One evening, as rain lashed the windows, Jamie's phone buzzed, a blocked number. Jordan's voice. Fractured, "Don't look for me." "I'm safe." The line died, leaving us shattered. Jamie punched the wall, knuckles blooming red. I bandaged him in silence, our foreheads touching, tears mingling. "He chose freedom," Jamie whispered. "What about us?" That vulnerability cracked me open. In the storm's roar, we made love, not frantic, but slow, reverent, as if sealing a vow truer than the one on paper. His body was Jordan's echo, but his heart beat a different rhythm, fierce, unyielding. Afterward, tangled in sheets, he traced my scars, literal from thorny prunings, figurative from lost dreams. "I fell for you that first night," he confessed. Not as a stand-in. As you, but drama lurked in the vines. Evelyn cornered me one afternoon in the greenhouse, orchids drooping like accusations. "You're playing with fire, Alex." "Jamie's not like Jordan. He'll ruin you." Her words stung. Laced with truth, the twin divide, the family rift. Victor's tempers escalated, harvest yields dipping under his rage. Whispers spread among the crew. El Ranado, the runaway, shaming us all. Climax brewed on All Hallows' Eve, the valley's fog thick as deceit. A gala at the estate, black ties, crystal, the elite toasting resilience. Jamie and I danced under chandeliers, his hand firm on my waist, but I scanned shadows. Then, chaos, the PI's report, slid under Victor's napkin. Jordan spotted in Portland, shacked up with a stranger, living free. Victor exploded, glass shattering, accusations flying. You drove him away. You in your weakness. The room froze. Evelyn gasped. Guests murmured. Jamie stepped forward, voice steel. Enough. Dad. Jordan left because this place chokes the soul. And Alex? He's the best damn thing to happen to us. My heart swelled. Terror and pride warring. Victor's face purpled, but Jamie didn't flinch. I'm not Jordan, but I'm your son. And this, he pulled me close, lips brushing my temple. This is real. The fallout was biblical. Victor cut Jamie off. Evelyn wept in corners, but we stood firm. In the quiet aftermath, as leaves fell like confetti, Jamie and I drove the coastal road ourselves, not chasing ghosts, but claiming horizons. We found Jordan in a rainy cafe, thinner, eyes clearer. No recriminations, just brothers embracing. Truths aired like bottled air. I needed to breathe, he said, hugging me last. But I'm glad it's you with him. Back in Napa, we rebuilt, not as Harrington puppets, but partners. I stayed sommelier, Jamie bridging city smarts to vineyard grit, turning the estate toward sustainable futures. Love bloomed not in hiding, but open, kisses in daylight, hands intertwined at tastings. The meaningful twist? Freedom isn't flight, it's choosing to stay, thorns and all, and letting love prune the dead weight. In the end, under that old oak, Jamie slipped a new ring on my finger, simple gold, engraved with vines entwined. No more stand-ins, he said, eyes shining. Just us, and as the valley whispered approval, I knew some runs lead home. The first frost etched fragile patterns on the estate's windows, a reminder that winter waited, patient and unforgiving. Jamie and I had barely caught our breath from the gala storm when Victor summoned us to his study, a cavern of leather-bound ledgers and decanters that gleamed like judgmental eyes. The air was thick with aged scotch and unspoken ultimatums. You've made your bed, he rumbled, voice like gravel under boot, sliding divorce papers across the desk. Sign them. End this farce before it poisons the vintage. Jamie's hand found mine under the table, a lifeline in the chill. At 28, he carried the weight of reinvention like a second skin, his venture capital polish now dirt-streaked from dawn patrols in the fields. Khaki swapped for jeans that hugged his thighs just right. Me, I was still the sommelier in pressed shirts and vests, the one who could pair grief with a bold Zinfandel. No, Jamie said flatly, crumpling the papers. This marriage is ours now. Legally. Emotionally, deal with it. Victor's laugh was a bark, devoid of mirth. Emotionally, you're a Harrington. We build empires, not feelings. But Evelyn hovered in the doorway, her silk blouse a armor of pearls and regret, eyes flicking between us like she was tallying losses. She'd always favored Jordan, the pliable one, but in Jamie's fire, she saw glimmers of her own youth, wild, before the vines claimed her. Give it time. Victor, she murmured, a crack in the facade. We left the study unbroken, but the estate felt smaller, walls closing like barrel hoops. Outside, The crew worked silently, pruning shears, snipping judgments. Maria, my second in command, a wiry woman with hands like mine, scarred from seasons past, pulled me aside by the crush pad. El jefe Israel, Mijo, says you're stealing his sons. Her eyes, wise as rootstock, held no blame. But love? That's the real vintage. Don't let them crush it. That night, Jamie and I escaped to the ridge trail. Horses lathered under moonlight. The valley sprawled below, a quilt of shadows where Jordan had once confessed his fears. Jamie rode ahead, his back straight, wind whipping his shirt open to reveal that tattoo, a reminder of endless loops we'd break together. We dismounted at the overlook, the city lights twinkling distant. A siren call he'd resisted for this. I could take you away, he said, pulling me against him, lips grazing my ear. San Francisco. Start fresh. Temptation curled warm in my belly, but roots ran deep. And abandon this? I gestured to the land that had birthed my family's story, from my father's border-crossing dreams to my own quiet triumphs. No. We fight for both worlds. His kiss was fierce, grounding, hands roaming with the urgency of men who knew fragility. We made love on a blanket spread over wild grasses, the earth cradling us as stars wheeled overhead. It was romantic, raw, his whispers of forever mingling with the night's symphony of crickets and coyote howls. But suspense shadowed our idyll. The PI's leads dried up, Jordan a phantom in the ether. But rumors festered, a Harrington heir squandering legacy on deviant whims. Local press sniffed, a tabloid photographer lurking at the gates. One morning, as I led a private tasting for out-of-town buyers, notes of black cherry and vanilla dancing on tongues, a flash pierced the arbor. Alex Rivera, is it true you're betting twins to climb the ladder? The question slithered from a slick-haired reporter. Mike thrust like a blade. The room iced. Buyers shifted uncomfortably, glasses clinking accusations. Jamie, overseeing from the doorway in his manager's vest, crisp white over broad shoulders, stormed in, voice a whip. Get out, or I'll have you blacklisted from every valley pour. Security dragged the man away, but damage seeped. Whispers followed me to the cellars, where barrels loomed like conspirators. Evelyn found me there, swirling a faulty batch, corked, bitter. He's destroying everything, she said, voice trembling. Not Jamie, Jordan, the ghost. She confessed then, in halting breaths, the twins' birth under a harvest moon, how she'd favored Jordan to shield him from Victor's rages, pushing Jamie away until he fled. I lost one son to the city. Now the other's rebellion. It's my fault. Tears tractor powder, humanistic in their rawness. I pulled her into a hug, the mother I'd never had, murmuring, love doesn't destroy. Fear does. Jamie's response was action. He rallied the crew that evening. Bonfire crackling in the courtyard. Faces illuminated like a council of elders. The Harringtons built this on sweat. Not secrets, he declared. Arm around me. Alex and I, we're the future, sustainable. Open-hearted. Cheers rose. Tentative, then thunderous. Maria leading with a whoop. Victor watched from the porch, arms crossed, but his scowl softened a fraction, pride warring with prejudice. Yet drama escalated when a letter arrived. Postmarked Portland. Jordan's script, shaky, found peace in the rain. But hear this, Jamie's always been the brave one. Marry him for real. For me. Enclosed. Oppressed fern wild. Resilient. We wept reading it. Jamie's shoulders shaking as he clutched the page. He knew, he choked. All along, that vulnerability fueled our resolve. We planned a quiet renewal, not pomp, but truth under the old oak. Witnesses just the crew and Evelyn, who baked the cake herself, hands dusted in flour like atonement. Victor declined, but sent a bottle of 98 Reserve to roots that endure. As Jamie's vows washed over me, I choose you. Every tangled branch, the valley seemed to hold its breath, then exhale in birdsong. Winter deepened, but our love warmed like mulled wine. Jordan visited once, gaunt but glowing, a barista now in a city cafe, his own love story budding with a quiet artist. Hugs lingered, forgiveness a balm. Victor thawed slowly, first a grunt at dinner, then a shared ride through the rows, discussing yields like old times. Humanistic threads wove us, family not by blood, but choice. In spring's thaw, as buds swelled, Jamie and I walked the aisles hand in hand, planning expansions, LGBTQ plus retreats, vines named for resilience. The runaway's shadow faded, replaced by light. Love, we learned, isn't a straight path, it's the curve that leads home. Spring unfurled in Napa like a long-held breath, petals scattering confetti over the furrows we'd toiled to reclaim. Jamie and I had weathered the gales, Victor's grudging silences evolving into barked approvals during barrel tastings, Evelyn's tentative teas turning to full evenings of shared recipes, her laughter a melody I'd missed. But beneath the bloom, suspense simmered, a rival winery, the sly Beaumonts across the ridge, circling like vultures scenting weakness. Whispers of buyouts, sabotage in the soil, fertilizer tainted, yields whisper to falter. I tasted it first, during a solo pour in the lab, an off note in the Pinot. Metallic. Wrong. Contamination, I muttered, heart sinking as I ran tests under fluorescent hum. Jamie burst in, sleeves rolled, dirt from the fields streaking his forearms like war paint. Beaumont's boys were spotted near the irrigation last night, he said, eyes flashing. At 28, he was a force, his city-honed instincts now sharpened on vineyard grit, that infinity tattoo peeking as he leaned over samples. We confronted Victor that dusk, the study lit by dying embers. It's corporate espionage, Jamie accused, slamming photos of tire tracks. Victor's face hardened, but not at us at the threat. Those bastards have wanted our slopes since '05. For the first time, alliance crackled, father and son, plotting defenses like generals. Me, I was the tactician, mapping chemical trails. My sommeliers knows the divining rod. Nights turned vigilant. We'd patrol under cover of stars, flashlights cutting fog, hands brushing in silent solidarity. One evening, as owls hooted warnings, we heard it rustle in the underbrush. Hearts hammering, we crept forward, Jamie's grip iron on my arm. Figures darted, two Beaumont hands, jugs in hand. Hey, Jamie bellowed, charging. Chaos erupted, shoves, curses, a scuffle in mud that left us bruised but triumphant. Evidence clutched. The showdown came at the county board meeting, A stuffy hall reeking of bureaucracy and bad coffee. Victor testified, voice booming. Jamie presented data. His venture polish gleaming. I spoke to the wines themselves, evoking their soul in words that hushed the room. This land isn't dirt, it's memory. Legacy. Love poured into every glass. The Beaumonts slunk out defeated. Injunctions slapped. Our borders secured. Victory tasted sweet, but emotion crested in its wake. Back at the estate, bonfire roaring anew. The crew toasted with our finest, arms linked, stories flowing. Jordan had wired congratulations from Portland. A cartoonish card of tangle vines, twins and triumphs. Proud of you both. Jamie pulled me aside, to the oak's shadow, where it all began. You saved us, he murmured, fingers tracing my jaw. His kiss was slow, laced with gratitude, bodies pressing urgent against bark. But romance deepened in quieter beats. Mornings, we'd wake to birdsong filtering through gauzy curtains. His head on my chest, lazy traces mapping ribs. Tell me a fear, he'd prompt, voice husky. I confessed the old ones, being the outsider, forever pouring for others' dreams. He'd counter with his, the city hollowing him, until this valley and me filled the void. Humanistic exchanges, weaving vulnerabilities into strength. Evelyn's evolution touched deepest. One afternoon, greenhouse steam curling. She handed me seedlings, tiny grapes. Hopeful. I was wrong about walls, she said, eyes misty. You and Jamie. You're tearing mine down. We garden side by side. Dirt under nails. Her story spilling. Young love lost to duty. Regrets mulled like wine. By dusk, Victor joined. Gruff but present, clipping with shears that snipped old grievances. Suspense lingered in smaller dramas, a storm ripping trellises, forcing all-night repairs. Jamie and I soaked, laughing through exhaustion. Or the night Jordan called, voice cracking, his artist left, doubts flooding. We talked him through, Jamie's twin intuition a bridge. Come home, he urged. Jordan did. For a weekend, awkward hugs melting to tears, then tales by firelight. No pressure to stay, just presence, a meaningful mend. As summer scorched the hills, our love matured, romantic gestures in the everyday, Jamie bottling a custom label. Rivera Reserve. Notes of passion fruit and promise, me planning a city escape, his hand in mine on bustling streets. We volunteered at local centers, sharing stories of hidden loves, empowering youth with vines of their own to tend. The pinnacle came harvest moon, full and fat. Under its glow, Jamie proposed anew, not with fanfare, but a cork pulled from 78 vintage. Ring nestled inside. Marry me again, he said, knee in dew-kissed grass. For the life we're growing, tears blur my yes, our embrace fierce, the valley witnessing. In that meaningful arc, we learned drama forges, suspense tempers, but emotion endures. The runaways' echo became harmony. Twins entwined, not in loss, but legacy. Summer's blaze yielded to autumn's palette. Napa awash in amber and rust. The air heavy with fermenting promise. Jamie and I had carved our niche, the estate thriving under joint stewardship. His bold expansions paired with my nuanced blends drawing acclaim from Napa's elite. Critics raved in glossy mags. Harrington airs redefined tradition with heart. But beneath accolades, Kitch Tin brewed anew, an anonymous threat scrawled on our mailbox, blood vines bleed. Leave or lose. Chills spider my spine as I showed Jamie, his face storming over coffee steam. Sick fuck, he growled, dialing authorities, but his eyes, those blue depths, held fear for me, not the land. At 28, he'd shed the last city sheen, his frame tanned and toned from relentless labor. Casual button-downs, now his armor. I, in vest and slacks, felt exposed, the sommelier who tasted threats in every pore. The notes escalated, slashed tires on the cruise truck, a barrel of sabotage, vinegar spike into Chardonnay. Paranoia gripped the estate. Maria double-locked gates. Evelyn clutched pepper spray like rosary. Victor, ever the patriarch, armed us with resolve. We Harringtons don't fold. But nights, Jamie held me tighter. Lovemaking a ritual of reclamation, slow grinds under silk. His murmurs mine, safe chasing shadows. Suspense peaked at the annual wine auction. A glittering tent on the estate lawns. Chandeliers swaying like pendulums. Bitters and tuxes swirled our stars. But my gut twisted, eyes everywhere. A hooded figure in the crowd. As I presented the charity lot, a magnum of our inaugural Twin Vines blend. Evoking Unity's complexity, the mic crackled. Beautiful story. A distorted voice boomed over speakers. Too bad it's built on lies. Ask Alex about the runaway's bed. Gasps rippled, heads swiveled. Jamie vaulted on stage, yanking chords, but damage bloomed, muttered doubts. A bitter withdrawing. Backstage. Fury blazed. Who? He demanded, pinning me gently, concern etching his brow. I shook my head, pulse racing. Someone from the past. Jordan's shadow, investigation unraveled threads. The culprit, a disgruntled ex-employee, bitter over Jordan's abandonment, twisted by homophobic bile from Beaumont whispers. We trapped him in the cellars. Jamie's tackle fierce. My call to cops steady. As cuffs clicked, he spat venom. Freaks like you ruin families. Jamie's retort cut deeper. Families evolve. Yours just got left behind. The arrest cleansed. But emotion lingered. A town hall we hosted. Crew and locals gathered. Voices raw. I spoke first. Throat tight. Love isn't scandal. It's the root that holds us. Jamie followed. Arm around me. We've lost. Fought. Loved through it. Join us. Applause thundered. Barriers crumbling. Humanistic bridges built. Romance flowered in recovery. Post-auction. Under lantern glow. Jamie danced me slow. Waltzes to imagined strings. His cheek to mine. You're my anchor, he breathed, dipping me low. Lips claiming in a kiss that tasted of victory and vintage. We slipped away to the loft. Hayloft turned haven. Bodies arching in candlelight. Every touch affirmation. Evelyn's arc deepened. She started a support group for Valley parents. Her first meeting in our kitchen. Tears and tea forging bonds. Victor, gruff as ever, gifted us a plot for your legacy, his way of saying son. Jordan's updates warmed. Portland promotions. A new bow with ink like Jamie's. Visits promised. Drama crested personal when illness struck. Evelyn's diagnosis. A quiet cancer. Announced over harvest brunch. The table stilled. Forks clattering. Victor paled. Jamie's hand crushing mine. We'll fight, I said. Voice steady. channeling the resilience we bottled. Chemo cycles, blur days. We rallied, Jordan flying in, siblings bedside, stories swapping like elixirs. Through vigils, love proved elixir, Jamie's exhaustion melting in my arms. Confessions whispered, scared I'll lose her. Lose you. I'd hold him. We're vines, intertwined. Her remission came gradual, a miracle in scans, celebrated with a family pour, tears salting the rim. As leaves turned, suspense yielded to serenity. We hosted a twins tribute, Jordan guest sommelier, Jamie and I toasting unity. Laughter echoed, meaningful in its mending. Winter whispered close, but our fire burned eternal, gay love, unvanquished, a testament to hearts that bloom defiant. Winter clamped Napa in icy fingers, snow dusting vines like powdered sugar on forgotten pastries. The estate slumbered, but our lives thrummed, Jamie's expansions birthing a co-op for queer farmers. My tastings evolving to storytelling sessions, where each sip unpacked closets cracked open. Yet, as resolutions dawned, a final kitsch tin stirred. Victor's heart faltered during a routine check. The old lion caged by monitors in the city hospital. We raced to his side, tires chewing slushy roads. Jamie's knuckles white on the wheel. He can't go yet, he muttered, voice cracking, the boy who'd fled seeking approval in boardrooms, now craving his father's nod. I squeeze his thigh. Steady, he sees you now. The man you are, at 28. Jamie was peak, confident stride, eyes soft with maturity. His casual sweater hugging the frame I'd mapped 1,000 times. The ICU hummed sterile. Evelyn dozing in a chair. Jordan en route from Portland. Victor, tubed and pale, gripped Jamie's hand when lucid. Proud of the fight, he rasped, eyes locking, legacy past, not in deeds, but gaze. Tears carved Jamie's cheeks. He leaned in, whispering vintner's secrets, promises of undying roots. Vigil, stretch days. Emotion a tide, Jordan arriving. Twins flanking the bed in silent pact. Stories of boyhood, scrapes, drawing wheezes of laughter from Victor. I brewed coffee runs, held Evelyn as sobs shook her. Humanistic threads pulling tight. Remission came stubborn. Rehab a grind, Victor homebound. Bark softened to grunts of thanks over my blends. Romance sustained us through. One storm last night. Hospital hushed. Jamie pulled me to the roof garden, snowflakes dancing, city lights blurring. Marry me proper, he said, breath clouding, ring glinting, a band of woven gold and amethyst. Valley-born. On one knee in slush. Eyes fierce, be my forever. Alex, yes, tumbled free. Our kiss melting chill. Bodies warming against glass walls. Urgent and tender. Spring's return mirrored renewal. Victor's first steps in the rose. Cane tapping rhythm like Morse code approval. We wed in the vineyard chapel. No farce, Jordan best man. Evelyn beaming. Crew witnesses in Sunday best. Vows echoed true, in abundance and frost. I choose you. Rings exchanged. Kiss sealing under arches of bloom. Cheers erupting like corks. The reception? A feast of our making. Tastings paired to love stages. Crisp Sauvignon for sparks. Robust Cab for depths. Dances swirled. Jordan twirling a local artist bow. Victor toasting stiffly to loves that endure. Meaningful. Raw. Family reforged. Years blurred forward, co-op thriving. Jordan relocating nearby. His cafe, a haven. We adopted a son. Little Mateo. Vines in his blood. Teaching him pores and pride. Drama faded to anecdotes. Suspense to stories told over firesides. In twilight walks, Jamie's hand in mine, we'd pause at the oak. From runaway to roots, he'd muse. I'd pull him close, and every twist, worth the tangle. Gai lấp siya, kịch tính, lãng mạn. Why Nia? Proving, the heart's vintage improves with time. Pour shared.